Are you ready for the hottest garbage pail kids of the month? What is going on, YouTube? I am your host, Lawrence, over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and like always, welcome back to the show. Today, a brand new video. You guys know I break down comics for you every week. Well, guess what? Every month, we're going to see what happens when I break down the hottest 10 garbage pail kids of the month. This month, of course, we're going over October. How I get there is this. I go through eBay, I check out the top selling garbage pail kids for that month, and I break down the top 3 sales for each of those cards. I average them out, and that's how I rank the list. Now, before we get started in the video, I remind you guys, if you're not a current sub of the channel, hit that sub button, smash the like button for me because it really helps the channel out. And with that said, let's get into this month's breakdown. Starting us off at number 10 this month is New Wave Dave 30A from the original Series 1. And there were 3 big sales that occurred just this past October. The biggie we're going to start with is a BGS, you heard that right, BGS 9.5 that sold for $799. Next up, we had a PSA 9 glossy cell for $275. But get this, we also had another PSA 9 glossy that only sold for $199. That to me is a little mind-boggling, while we have 2 PSA 9s selling $75 apart. Just goes to show you, buying GPK is all about timing. Coming in at the 9th spot this month is Drunk Ken 9B from Series 1, and there were 3 big sales for the month of October. First up, a PSA 10 glossy version selling for $749. Then we had a PSA 10 matte card sell for $549. Then we had a PSA 8 glossy version again selling for only $89. Drunk Ken seems to be one of the harder cards to find in high grade. Coming in at number 8 this month is Furry Fran 12A from Series 1, and there were 4 graded sales we need to talk about. First up, a PSA 10 matte version of the card selling for $736. Then we had another PSA 10, the glossy version, selling for under that at only $550. Next up, we had a PSA 9 glossy version selling for only $103. And lastly, we had a PSA 9 matte version selling for only $47. You can see the price difference between matte and glossy, and how high grade cards, even at a PSA 10, can be found for original Series 1 for under $50. Coming in at number 7 at the inaugural Hot 10 Garbage Pail Kids of the Month is none other than Atom Bomb 8A from original Series 1. And there were 4 big sales we need to talk about, and guess what? Not one of them was a PSA 10. Let's start off with a PSA 9 glossy version selling for $1,275. Then we had another PSA 9, the matte version, selling for only $549. Next up, a PSA 6 selling for $225. Then, believe it or not, we had a PSA 7 selling for under that, $202. PSA 6, PSA 7, I'd probably stay away from right here, right now, if you're looking to buy original Series 1 GPK cards. For me, I want to stick to PSA 8 and up. That's where the money is. That's where I find a lot of collectors searching for some of these cards. Coming in at number 6 this month is one of my favorite names from GPK, Mean Jean 41A. And we had 4 big sales for the month of October. We're going to start it off with the big boy. We had a PSA 10 glossy version selling for $1,250 just this month. But we also had another PSA 10, another glossy version, selling for only $879, $400 under that last PSA 10 that sold in the exact same month. Then we had a PSA 9 matte version selling for only $92, believe it or not. Then we had a lowly PSA 8, just kidding there, selling for only $59 for the month of October. To me, one of my favorite cards from the original GPK series line. I think PSA 8, PSA 9 for under $100. It cannot get any better than that. More Series 1 goodness at number 5 this month. It is none other than Dead Ted 5A. And we had 4 big sales and 1 monster sale to talk about. We're going to start off with the PSA 10 glossy version that sold just last month for a whopping $2,750. But let's check in on some matte sales now. We had a PSA 9 selling for only $164. Then we had a PSA 8 selling for only $99 this month. But lastly, we had a PSA 6, yes, a lowly PSA 6 selling for only $44 just last month. To me, again, one of my favorite cards from the original series line. His brother JDK also made the list. Let's find out where he landed. Blasting his way to the 4th spot is none other than Blasted Billy 8B, the counterpart to 8A, Atom Bomb. And we had a monster sale. A monster PSA 10 glossy version just sold for $4,000 last month. Then we had a BGS 9 matte version selling for only $300 last month. Then we had a lowly BGS, another BGS sale, which really surprised me, in an 8.5 matte version selling for only $175. To me, if I'm buying and spending big money on cards right here, I'm probably sticking to PSA. Coming in at number 3 this month, I'm shocked to see this not at number 1. What else is it? It is Nasty Nick 1A, and we had 4 big sales we need to talk about, and not one of them is a PSA 10. So we're going to start with a PSA 9 glossy version selling for $4,997. Next up, another PSA 9, the matte version, off-center, selling for only $541. Then we had a PSA 6 glossy version selling for $220. Shocking to me that a PSA 6 is still going for over $200. Then we had another PSA 6 selling for $167. Again, $60 difference between one PSA 6 and another PSA 6 in the same month. Like I say, timing is everything when we're talking about GPK and PSA graded cards. At number 2 this month is the counterpart to Dead Ted. It is JDK 5B, and we have a monster PSA 10 we need to talk about right here. That PSA 10, the glossy version, just sold for an insane $6,000. Now you want to talk about the difference between a glossy and a matte. Here we have 3 PSA 9s that only sold for $145, another for $135, and then another one for only $70. Just goes to show you, glossy is where you can find most of the money in the original Series 1 GPK. But that doesn't mean PSA 9s and 8s shouldn't be collected for matte versions of these cards. And finally, at the top spot this month for the inaugural Hot 10 GPK of the month, it is none other than Evil Eddie 1B, the counterpart, of course, to 1A Nasty Nick. And we have 4 monster sales we need to talk about. The first up, a huge one, a PSA 10 glossy version of this card just sold for $9,500. Next up, we had 3 PSA 8s. The first one up, a glossy version selling for $789 last month. Then we had 2 matte versions of the card at a PSA 8. The first one selling for $349. Next up, another one at $299. Again, like I said before, timing is everything when we're talking about original Series 1 GPK, but glossy is where the money's at. So that's it for the video today, guys, in the inaugural Hot 10 GPK of the month. Do me a favor, if you like this video and you want to continue seeing it, hit that like button, but more importantly, comment down below and let me know what your favorite GPK is that you saw on this video today. Now, going forward, what I usually do on this list is try to give you my best buy of the month, and the way I collect GPK is this. I don't really care for glossy or matte. I just want to own the cards, and if I can get a great deal on a PSA 9, I'm talking under $100, and a lot of them can be had for a Series 1 for $50 or less in a PSA 9 right now, that's what I'm going to pick. So my best buy of the month this month is none other than Dead Ted 5A, one of my favorite cards, and a PSA 9 that sold for $164. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.